But yeah, about that no shades thing, shades, no shades. I had one guy tell me that comedians don't wear shades, and at first, like I was like, yeah, you're probably right, but then like, I started thinking about it. I was like, well, no, because like sometimes Theo Von wears shades, and he's funny when he's got shades on. It doesn't matter if you can see his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. The same thing. I wear hats on stage. It's the same thing. So people say typically you don't want to wear a hat or you don't want to wear glasses so that people can't see your eyes. But I think
Right.
it adds to a level of anonymity to where people can't see you, so they don't know fully like where you're coming from. And I do it all the time. I wear hats. I've worn glasses on stage. It feels good to me. If it doesn't make a difference. If anything, it enhances the performance. If anything,
That's cool.
yeah, 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 yeah. I fuck with Theo Von though, man. Funny dude.
Yeah, for real. So you're pretty funny. That's why I
Thanks,
had you
man.
come on here.
You mind? Is it okay if I smoke on here? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care what you do, man.
Well, I don't want to get you. What's that? The TPS or whatever, the codes or whatever on
Oh
TikTok.
yeah, your YouTube stuff. Oh yeah, maybe just don't show it on camera.
Yeah, I won't show it.
All right. So I think like you had me at the vegan zombie.
Yeah, man. That's actually one
Yeah.
of my favorite new jokes right now is that vegan
Dude.
zombie stuff. Yeah. I've added some stuff to it, but yeah, I love that bit.
No.
I think actually the one that you seen was the first time that I did it on stage.
Oh really? Okay. So I imagine it's probably like really polished by now.
Yeah, it gets better and better every time I do it. I think, but there's something to, I don't know, once you talk to enough comedians, I'm sure they will say the same thing, but there's something to performing a joke for the first time, like saying it out loud for the first time where you're not even sure how the response is going to be. It's something magical in that. So it's like opening up a gift for everybody, in front of everybody.
Oh yeah.
Um, I love that bit, man. Thank you for pointing that out because that's one of my favorite jokes right now.
Yeah, and that was so that one, and then like I think there was one where you're talking about you were vegan, so like you were talking. I don't want to mess it up, but anyways, the one where you were talking about yourself being a vegan. Are you actually a vegan?
Yeah, I'm actually vegan. Yeah.
Okay, so were you always vegan?
No, not at all. I want to say it happened like 12, 13 years ago. I was really heavy into political like activism and like being out on the street and like fuck the police and fighting for people's rights and shit like that. So after leaving a protest one day, we got pretty beat up by the police. They shot beanbags at us and
Oh
tear
damn!
all this shit down here in LA and downtown. And we're leaving to like address our wounds and like get settled and get our mind right. And we get into a drive-through at like a Jack in the Box or McDonald's, and in that drive-through we're behind like 3 police cars for some reason. Like they're all leaving the protest that just beat us up.
Right.
I remember sitting there thinking like, man, I can't be eating like the people beating me up. So that was one of the things. Of course, I had dated a girl at the time who's usually like the main. Anytime a guy goes vegan, they're like, "What girl was it?" That's usually the main question. And this girl actually, who was probably this girl I was seeing, I had a crush on at the time. She was vegan, but she was never like showing me what she ate in order to like convert me. She was just always just doing what she did, like she was just eating what she ate. And I find it interesting. So those were like the 2 things that kind of pushed me towards like thinking about veganism. But I want to say the straw that broke the camel's back was I had like came down with some type of food poisoning, or maybe I ate like some eggs, or it was salmonella or something. But
Yeah.
I was down Milty for like 7 days, man.
Oh my God.
I couldn't hold water. Like my stomach was, it was bad. And in that, like being on my knees and like talking to God and being like, please help me through whatever this situation is.
Right.
And that was really the final straw that I was like, all right, well, let me see what this plant-based like vegan shit is about. Cause
Yeah.
I'm already like, I've already like sworn off everything at this point. I'll never do nothing again if you just allow my stomach not to hurt so much. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been about 13 years now.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I used to would eat better because I had like a really bad situation where I had to have my entire colon taken out because my
No
stomach.
way.
Yeah, but it was from inflammation. And like the more I've learned about health and food and stuff, like inflammation could totally cause something like that.
Inflammation's everything.
Yeah.
Bro, inflammation is usually the first sign of any organ, muscle, any related issues in the body. Is like the first issue is inflammation.
Yeah. Have you ever known anybody that had like dementia?
Yeah, older people for sure.
That inflammation actually is like the precursor to
Yeah.
having that like inflammation in your brain.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're so right, man. It's the same with heart attacks. It's inflammation around the heart. It's
Yeah,
just with like high blood pressure. Inflammation somewhere where there's a blockage.
for sure.
No, you're right. Aneurysms, inflammation, bro. Everything has a starting point at inflammation, bro. For real.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're eating healthy, man. I'm actually trying to eat healthier too. Like I fell off the wagon at Christmas and I told somebody that the other day, that's been 3 months ago. I was like, I know, I get it, but sometimes life is hard
Yeah, man. No, it is.
and you don't eat right.
No, man, it happens all the time, man. Especially being on the road and doing shows, and sometimes like I'll eat maybe 2 to 3 hours before a show, but I'm never hungry. Or rarely hungry like that hour before the show. Usually, my nerves are getting the best of me,
Oh
and
yeah,
I'm like eager, to get on stage. So I'm really not. I don't have an appetite. But definitely after the show, I want to eat, and the stuff that's open is usually not the best shit. So you're out
right.
eating something greasy and heavy and cheesy as fuck and fried like in the middle of the night, some 3 a.m. fucking shit. So
Well, that's how it is all day long, man.
man, and that shit be kicking my ass, Milty. I can't be doing that shit all the
You,
time, man.
you
I'm
go
old.
to Chipotle, that ain't good for you either, really.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It looks healthy, but it's so full of like preservatives and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not fresh.
No, it's not. All the bad oils, like you said, preservatives, all the bullshit that they use on the food, all the 8-syllable words, it's not good for you.
Not at all. So, where are you from originally?
I'm from LA originally.
Awesome.
Born in Linwood. Raised all over LA, from like the jungles to the valley area, but I also spent a lot of time in Dallas and Grand Prairie in Texas, Fort Worth,
Cool.
Texas.
You ever gone over to Austin and gave it a shot?
You know what? That's so funny.
Some Kill Tony?
I've done Kill Tony twice when it was here in LA,
Oh, cool.
and it was cool. I think it was just a moderate set. They didn't really kill me too much or like roast me too badly or anything.
Man, if you don't do good, dude.
Yeah. They be eating people up.
Yeah,
But man, it was so funny. I was just thinking about getting out to Austin sometime before the end of this month or right at the top of June, to be honest. Yeah.
that's awesome, man.
I do want to do it. I haven't done it yet though. No, I haven't done it. I did Houston, and Houston was great, man. Houston showed me a lot of love when I was out there.
You ever been to San Antonio?
Not for comedy. Nope.
No?
I haven't been out there for comedy. No. Where are you at?
I'm in near Johnson City, Tennessee.
Okay. Tennessee.
Yeah.
God damn.
Halfway across the world, right? Right?
Yeah, halfway across the world. Yeah, my mom's side is all from Memphis, and my dad's side is from Oklahoma and shit.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of close together, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, we used to live in Savannah, Georgia. And
Okay.
then like people just started moving there in droves and the town grew to be way too big. And like it took me like to go 18 miles, it'd take me an hour.
Damn.
And I know it's like that there. You're used to it, but I wasn't used to it. So we look for like a smaller area and like we like to go vacationing up here in the mountains so we can go hiking and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
like we just yeah, we just fell in love with it and found a little town that we could move to, could afford to live in.
Oh yeah. Are you married? You got kids and stuff too?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So my wife's 37, I'm 40, and then we
Yeah.
have an 8-year-old boy and a 5-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. Hell yeah. How's
How about you?
fatherhood treating you?
It's great, man. You know, you learn how to do it as you go and you find your rhythm and you just, you know, you make it happen.
Hell yeah. That's beautiful. You know, they say, your job is just to bring children in that just thinks just a little bit better than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They ain't got to
That's
be
true.
perfect, but as
That's
long as
right.
they're just a little iota better than what you are doing. So yeah, no, that's cool. No, I don't have any kids. That
Okay.
and no, I'm not married currently, man. I'm just out here fiending off these hoes, man. I'm trying to take a break from these bitches. My bad, but no, 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 no. I'm out here just living life and enjoying it, and I am blessed, man.
Yeah. How old are you, man?
I'm 36.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 36. Yeah.
So, can you talk about like you were recently on a little TV show or something? Can you say anything about that?
Yeah, I can give you a little, a small breakdown. I did sign an NDA, so I don't know if they're
So we
gonna,
can't say the name of it or nothing like that.
and I think it's still kind of like a working title. They're still trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
I'll say, untitled comedy contest. You know,
Okay.
so I want to say, and it kind of happened all quickly, to be honest. Last week, a friend of mine is telling me that basically the very next day they have this audition for this reality style, like real world for comedy type of thing.
Yeah.
Big Brother survivor comedy type of thing. They're going to put 10 plus comics in a house, and they're going to be challenges for you guys to do every day, and then every day they're going to eliminate an X amount of comics, right?
Oh wow. So this is like one of those big deal shows.
Well, yes.
Kind of like the tattoo artist shows where they like do the
Yeah,
competition.
like Black Ink. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yes, very such in that same type of vein.
Dude,
So
it's so cool that they're taking comedy this seriously now.
yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a part of it. You're right, because there's, I mean, as many like there's so many people doing comedy. There's people that I probably would never even hear about that are doing crazy things. Every time I get on Instagram, there's somebody with like over 100,000 followers who are doing comedy that I've never even heard of.
Right.
So there's comedy everywhere, but it still feels like there's no lens that really shows you like that's keeping you up to date on the up and coming. Like
Right.
you're either on Netflix or you're extremely popular online, but there's no real middle ground of like who to watch or what to watch or what's coming up or what's going on. Or I think it does kind of put a challenge and a hurdle in front of you for a general audience to most likely want to fuck with you or interrupt you or heckle you on stage, because crowd work clips and like comedy and heckling, they are like almost the bread and butter of comedy social media when it comes to specifically comedy stuff, social media stuff. I do a joke actually, where I'll do my whole set, I'll do 30, 40 minutes. And then at the end of it, I'll say something like, we had fun. This has been amazing. We all laughed, though with comedy, it's about getting famous, and going viral. So if two of you guys can just throw a beer bottle at me right now, I would greatly appreciate that. It would do wonders. It would do wonders for my career if you could just throw a chair on me at stage right now. People are going viral for getting hit with a bottle, throwing chairs on stage.
And
I
it's
was
so
like,
funny because it's the truth.
Yeah, I was like, it's the truth. I'm like, maybe I was better off, even though I made everybody laugh and we had a good time, but I was probably better off just making everybody stand up and do the Macarena, you know? I could have been a viral Macarena comedian or something, you know?
Seriously. Yeah.
So it's,
I've gotten approached by some people that I guess would be considered influencers. And like, I don't know that I'm an influencer type of podcast. So
yeah,
like, I don't even really know how to tell them like, I'm not really interested to work with you in this, like without hurting their feelings. But like I'm really just looking for comics, not people who tell jokes, not
yeah,
people who make funny videos, but I want to talk to comics, people who are funny because it
yeah,
was in their character to be funny.
yeah, definitely. Definitely not. And I think you can definitely carve out that type of lane. And ultimately, you let people know, like, well, you do a different type of style. You know, this is
Yeah.
the style, this is the lane, and this is the area that I'm looking to carve out. This is the interest that I have and my audience has. And yeah, there's probably, there's always other things that you can do creatively. There's always other side quests you can get into creatively. But if you have a vision for it, and if comics are part of that vision, I think you should. There's plenty of space for us to work on something dope, to do something
Yeah.
dope. And
Absolutely.
yeah, man, these social media characters, they already killing it, man. They don't need
Yeah.
no. They don't need no.
No.
It's funny. That's why I kind of asked you though about if you're familiar with like the YouTube commentary space or at all, because you're asking me if there's anything off limits or anything.
Yeah.
And I want to say 2 years ago, I was on a really popular podcast. This guy, he had like over 500,000 subscribers,
Sure.
really popular. And but he did commentary, which I wasn't familiar with. I was just literally outside 7 days a week
Yeah.
on stage, getting up like on the ground. I
Right.
wasn't really, and it was probably to my detriment. I really wasn't even, and even still now, as on top of social media as I could be, right? So it was just never a focal point. But anyway, I ended up getting casted on this podcast as a as a host, right?
Okay.
So I have a year contract with this podcast, and now I'm being exposed to like hundreds and millions of thousands, millions of people, weekly, monthly, who are checking me out and enjoying what I have to say on this podcast.
Right.
And man, it got to a point to where the guy opened up like a comedy club where we had a spot to perform. We were doing well, bro, like phenomenal. People were traveling to our shows out of state to come see us. But the guy, he was so focused on the commentary space to where he was getting into YouTube beefs with other creators.
Oh my God.
It essentially destroyed the channel from inside out. Like,
Yeah.
over time, he got into 3 or 4 beefs with some smaller, some bigger content creators, and then the bigger ones just shitted on him to where it destroyed the channel, man. It was quite it's quite interesting. I'm still getting people sending me messages who remember those times, who are like, yo, we loved you, and oh, we're sorry that, how things happen, yada yada yada. But it was just an
Right.
interesting time, man. And it was one of those things where it's like he really wasn't focused on the craft.
Yeah.
He really more interested in like his image online and like
The attention that it brings you.
the attention and the fame of it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, if you don't even see that what you are looking to accomplish, you pretty much already have that. You already have those things, but what's going to keep it is you being locked in on this craft.
Yeah.
And
You have to care about it. It has to be an art.
he didn't want to care, but he didn't care about the craft, man. And over time, people seen it, and the channel just went underground. And now he's doing like, I think he's doing like MAGA Trump stuff now, just to try to keep some type of audience. But yeah, man, it's a funny space.
That's interesting. Like, to me, like everything you do to create content for somebody else to watch, it shouldn't be about making money from that, but like you should be making some kind of art, something to offer them that matters. And then like because you did that, people will gift you with watching it, and that will bring income.
Yeah.
And or if you have something to sell, like maybe you make merchandise, people are going to want to get that because they appreciate you for what you've done to
Mm.
provide them with something entertaining or educational or artistic or beautiful or whatever it is, and comedy should be lumped into art in the same way that music and poetry
Yeah.
and paintings, like it's part of it.
I
Acting,
agree.
yeah, it's right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I agree. I keep failing and continue to apply to artists. There's like hella artist residencies that happen throughout the world, throughout the country. And some of them I've gotten into, some of them are like hella expensive. Some of them, they pay you to be there, so it just varies on which one you apply to. But most of them are seen in like the hoity toity space of traditional contemporary art, whether it's like painting or music or dance or something like that, orchestra or whatever the case may be. But rarely, or if any of them, are for like stand up type of performance artists, and I'm constantly applying to these artist residencies, partially just annoyingly to let them know, like, yo, there's another art form that you guys are leaving
You're
out.
overlooking it, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other part is because I do have a general or a genuine interest in presenting my artwork, along those same type of pieces.
Yeah.
So even in a way where I've found ways to even how I literally do stand up, the type of stand up that I do, the word choices that I use, and I will present it like an art piece. I will present each joke as sarcastically as an art piece, and
Right.
man, yeah, like what you're saying is right. I'm always thinking about how comedy and performance art, in a way, it gets left out of the conversation of art, or like what is something to be seen, as like held in any revere of, like, this is some cool ass shit. What can be put behind glass walls and what should stay outside, type of thing.
Right.
So I'm always looking to break those type of barriers, and looking to be like the comedy Basquiat, in a way, just out here with some, I may be known for tagging up a subway car, but this this has any other right to be in like the MoMA, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. No, man, that's amazing. Like, and that is true. Like, you have to like think about like what you say is going to be held against you. So like, it's not necessarily about worried about being canceled, which can be a problem, but it also is like, is this from my heart or is this just to get a laugh? You know what I mean?
Yo, I I don't usually give advice to comics or other people, but there's like two things that I always say. It's like the times on stage that feels the best are the times where you're doing material that is aligned with your spirit. Because anytime you do jokes or you do material, even if it goes over well, for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, even if the material goes over well, if it's something that I'm not in that moment aligned with mentally, spiritually, I don't, I didn't have a good set to me. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't have a good set because comedy, man, that's one of the things about the art form. It's you're so locked in on the moment, in the spirit, in the now. Like, if you're not fully aligned with your now and what's going on now, you're only giving the audience half of a meal when it comes to
Yeah.
them satiated. So I'm always telling people, like, yo, do what you feel is best in that moment to do. Do what you feel aligned with, because I'm not saying because I'm not doing these jokes that they're bad jokes. No, I'm not saying that they're bad jokes. I'm just saying in this moment, I'm just not aligned energetically with this material. And I can revisit it and I can do it at another time when I am aligned with it.
And maybe
So
that's because you can feel the energy in the room and you know what to do at the right time because you've learned the patterns of the crowd and yourself.
that's it. That's exactly it. That's exactly what it is. It's like wherever I'm at, whatever I'm going through, whatever the room is going through, always. And this, the second piece of advice is that your room is A, your material is B. So your job is to have your material in your DNA so it's seamless. But also, as much as it is about you as an artist, it's equally about the audience getting on board, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure your audience is on board before you completely split them up, because
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
comedy does. You know,
yeah.
it divides the room, it brings the room together, it separates some people, it brings some people together. So I think as an artist, it's good to initially, for me, initially, I want to get everybody on the same page before I rip everybody up.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Because, like, in art, period, the point of art is I am doing this thing to make someone feel a way. And if I can actually, I was actually learned this from Marilyn Manson. It's funny because how would I learn something like that from Marilyn Manson? But it just clicked for me one time recently. I watched one of his videos, and he does what he does because he knows it will make you feel a certain way, and he draws that emotion out of you, and he gets what he wants because he did that. Even Ye, lately he's been doing some crazy wild stuff, but he knows what he's doing. He's an artist. He is pulling emotions out of people that he wants to make people feel. And as a comic, I would imagine that if you want to have that person laugh, then you use those jokes. That's your tool bag. It's not the jokes. That's not what it's about. Like you said, it's about you wanting to make that person laugh, and you use the best tool to do it.
In that moment, right? I akin it to cracking a safe. I always tell people
Oh,
like,
that's a cool idea.
yeah, I always tell people there's always, every room has like there's a pocket, there's a rhythm to every
It's like
room.
one of them safe rooms you go to or escape rooms you go to and try to get out of.
Right, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's like getting on stage. Like every escape room, there's a way to escape the room. You know, it's just up to you to be skillful and diligent and just having the wherewithal to find out the best way to escape. You know, because ultimately you can just start taking a sledgehammer to shit. You know, and I think that's what it comes down to. You get up on stage and either you have your little stethoscope, whatever, you're like you're listening to the dial of the safe and you're cracking the code, and either you do it in a skillful way and now the world is open up to you, you know, as the audience, or you can't crack the code and you just fucking put some dynamite on the box. You know.
Yeah. I think some of those folks, like, they just think that it's easy to be funny, but it's not. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to be funny, but it's not easy to make people laugh.
Well, I think it's more so, and you're right, but I'll add to this. I think it's more so easy to be shocking.
Yeah,
It's more difficult to be funny and get somebody to laugh. But I think people equate like shocking material or like off the wall raunchy shit, like some heavy shit, with being automatically getting your attention. So since they got
yeah.
you're you're hooked, or you're going to be laughing because it's just something ridiculous, you know.
Well, yeah. Like I saw this guy recently. Now that you say that, that was like talking about having sex with somebody and like was like trying to make it funny and like just making it real raunchy and nasty. But it wasn't. It wasn't funny. It was just like, okay, that's. I don't care about that. I don't want
Yeah,
to hear that.
yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, that's usually a telltale marker of like someone who's within 3 to 5 years, you know, maybe just their first year of comedy. But that's a mistake that I think most comics make. You know, I did the same thing. I think most of my material, even and even then, I think it was like whatever is considered a mild version. But I think even then, it was like, yeah, just having you're just you don't have this skill set to do raunchy sex jokes yet. you don't have the aptitude comedically.
Well, I would feel like to even get to that kind of a joke, you have to start off slow, a little foreplay with some like nothing to do with that topic whatsoever, and then sneak it in the rear, and there you go, surprise.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
everybody's laughing because they're all caught off guard. Like you can't just start off the gate.
yeah. I always say that you want to look to be as surgical as you can, especially the more touchy the subject is. You got to be more surgical with your shit, you know.
Yeah. So, what led you to decide you wanted to be a comic?
I had this thought that I was on my deathbed surrounded by my gifts, and they were like, if you would have just used me, man, we would, we would not even be here right now. So that was really the thing. I mean, I was told all my life that comedy would be something that I can thrive in, and I should look into, and I should, pursue. And I think once I turned 21, maybe 22, going on 22, I was like, yeah, I gotta do this before it's too late for me to want to attempt it, you know.
So, what age were you whenever you saw that? Was it a vision or a dream or?
No, it's around that age. I was like 21, 22.
Yeah.
And I was like studying like communication and film, and yeah, I always had an interest in comedy. I always was watching comedy, and like I said, I was, if not the class clown, like pretty much the class clown.
Yeah.
Anywhere that I went, I would say the class clown with good timing, because I wasn't trying to just be funny, but I had the best timing,
Yeah.
Gosh. So I was always making people laugh, and I was always, getting people roasting people and all that shit that kids
So
do.
you were one of those people that if something had to be said and nobody else was going to say it, then you would say it.
I would say it.
Yeah.
Say it. Yeah. The elephant in the room. Yeah, I would
You have to say it.
Yeah.
It's like the button, you have to push it or.
You got to push it.
Yeah. I love it. Man. So like when I was little, I remember like in our house, we would be watching Johnny Carson every night. I don't remember like the timelines, but like then like all the late shows, Arsenio Hall. Used to watch Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin, John Candy. Trying to think, just like those were the ones I started with, and then like throughout the '90s, I got into Chris Rock and Chris Tucker, but mostly Chris Tucker for movies. I didn't really look at the what you call it, the I didn't even stand up at that age because I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember when I finally saw Friday, but that movie was still one of my favorites. But so yeah, Jackie Chan. I mean, he's more of an action star, but he's still a comic. But so like those were some of the like people I like grew up watching and loving. Adam Sandler, David Spade, and Chris Farley. So who are some of the people that you like? Did you have that growing up that you were like would watch them and admire them and stuff?
That whole lineup of after school TV, family TV, even I Love Lucy, man. Those two characters, well,
Yeah.
all four of those characters are really hilarious. I remember watching a lot of that. Was like the only black and white thing that I would watch would be.
Oh yeah. She was silly though.
She was silly.
Yeah.
Funny. All four of them was great. Of course, the Wayans. Of course.
Oh yeah, I remember that when I used to love to watch them because they would make Pops mad all the time.
Mm-hmm. Rest in peace, John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, even Mama's Family. Like.
Oh shoot! I forgot my Mama's Family.
Of course, the Cosbys, like all that type of stuff.
Did you watch Married with Children?
Of course, that was man. I had No Ma'am, bro. I had Married with Children was on repeat. We didn't even have streaming or DVR, but
I was
that
like an
shit,
8-year-old little boy. I wanted to marry their mom.
bro, for real. Peggy was a little baddie, man. And I used to watch that, yeah, Married with Children all the time, bro. Those, I know those episodes like the back of my hand. And then as far as stand up wise, I want to say I got introduced to like the comic view stuff early
Yeah,
on.
I remember that.
Lavelle Crawford and Bruce, and of course Martin Lawrence and all that Def Jam stuff. I got a hold of early on. Bernie Mac, but I want to say like once I started like really studying comedy, I want to say like Patrice O'Neal, Paul
Oh,
Mooney, George Carlin, even like Moms Mabley. These are some of the people that I was like studying and looking at and just observing. But now,
have you ever heard of Emo Phillips?
bro, I just got put on the Emo Phillips, I want to say a month ago, and
Oh,
I've been
cool.
watching stuff. I've been following him. He been liking some of my comments and stuff like that.
He's a
So
cool
yeah,
guy.
there's another comic that's really good that you may want to check out. Who's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a legend in the game, but it kind of like an unsung hero. He won the first Star Search as a comic back in
Star
like,
Search.
yeah, he won like 100 grand back in the 80s. He was the first comic,
Dang.
and he's an hilarious dude, but such a genius in a way to where he's like an enigma, man, of a
Yeah.
character. It's Al LaBelle,
I'll
ALLUBELL. But
check it out.
man, check that guy out. If there's anybody to get on, that would be one of the first dudes that's like, you remember that movie that came out that was like Where's the Sugar Man? It was like, or something like Finding Sugar Man. It was like about this artist who was unknown, and he had a song that he recorded in like the 60s, and it had blown up in like some island, some like Jamaica or some island, or like even like in Africa. And he knew nothing about it, but he was like working as a mechanic 40 years later. But this song was like the biggest song in whatever this country was. And years
Wow.
later, they find him, and he ended up coming out of, I mean, he starts playing music again, like after like 40 years after making this record. He didn't even know he was popular in this
That's
whole other
cool.
country. And I feel like that's almost like an Al LaBelle story. He's had some success, but not really. And he's extremely funny. His approach to comedy is really unique. And I feel like he's just one of those guys where it's like, man, more people should know about him, because I would hate for him to die or, leave this planet without getting all the flowers that he can. And that's like with a lot of artists, honorable mention. There was a guy who was on Kill Tony years ago who was one of the first golden members, golden, or whatever they call, like the people who always come back.
Right.
And hilarious dude, funny dude. I still remember some of his jokes. And he fell victim to just hard times in the streets, drugs, like, living in his car. All the artists, like comic shit, some of the horrible shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's getting hella traction. He's opening up for big names. He's doing cool shit. But for some reason, he's not fully getting what he deserves. He's a regular on the Bill Tony show. And it got to a point he fell into some shit, possibly like, his name is Malcolm Hatchett. Hilarious dude. If people ever watch Tony, Hinchcliffe and that Kill Tony shit those early years, you will know him. Or even if you look him up, you will still see his videos and stuff online. And man, talk about like a sad story. And there's plenty of artists, but those are two people I do want to mention that are hilarious, that I think your audience should know about, or just you should do some research in, and possibly, especially Al LaBelle, have him on the show. But Al LaBelle and Malcolm Hatchett, completely separate spectrums of comedy, both unique approach, both great at their approach, both masters at what they were doing, and both artists that a percentage of people will never even know, though those who do become great or are great would have all those qualities that they possess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, but I definitely did want to mention that just randomly because, man, this artistry is a interesting field that you are in, and I'm sure there's, like I said before and earlier in the show, there's going to be plenty of people even in this space that I just do not know. I wake up every day and I'm learning about a new face, a new character. Even yesterday, I did an audition in Torrance, and there's a guy who, Brian Cullen, one of Joe Rogan's friends, and that whole group, that whole space, who's vouching for him. This dude's 18. He's now about to do a special. He's been doing comedy for 2 years. He's like blowing up.
Wow.
He's in Torrance, which is like, maybe 40 miles from me, but that's still far from me. I didn't know anything about this guy.
Yeah.
So there's this. I don't know. I love it. I definitely love the sport. But shout out to Malcolm and shout out to Al LaBelle, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for telling everybody about them. I mean, like, you never know, like, just some attention to, like, some old videos or something could be enough to be like, hey, people care about me.
Yeah, you remember that shit with Delonte West?
No, tell me about it.
Remember that he's like a basketball player that used to play in the NBA. And,
okay, see, I never followed sports when I was growing up, so I don't know anything about it. So,
okay, well, I'm not a big sport head myself, but it was a popular story that happened. This guy was in the NBA for maybe over 10 years. And one of the teams that he played for a while was the Mavs, the Dallas Mavs.
Okay.
And, somehow through social media, just like years later, someone is kind of mocking him and recording a video of him like basically begging and like spanging, like begging for change with like a cardboard in his hand.
I hate those kind of videos.
Yeah.
Even the ones where they go do good for them. And like, it's like, okay, so you're getting a bunch of money to go help somebody, you piece of crap.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you. So, anyway, the turn on the tide changed to where people are like, yo, that's Delonte West. We should help this guy. This guy was an NBA legend. We should not, and I think over 2-3 times they've like got him off the streets and put him in rehab and done these things to get him back. And I was only bringing that up basically to say I just feel like it's this weird. There's an overlap between just, being in a performance space and just excelling at what you do and still falling through the cracks in some type of way, which is very. I feel
like there's a lot of pressure and some people just, sometimes they can't handle that. Maybe they have trauma they didn't deal with yet.
Right. No, that's exactly what it is. There's definitely trauma. There's definitely a lack of focus, definitely. But I also feel like environment too is like, man, you have all the right pieces to the puzzle. There should be no reason why your environment couldn't help foster to make that happen,
Yeah.
So
I think that's what we're here for, though, to help each other that way.
Yeah, we are.
We're all one.
Yep.
Man, I don't know. I know you said you had to get going to a show soon or whatever, but I feel like this was really good.
Yeah, man. I got to run to the Comedy Store, and
is that the one that Pauly Shoresbaum owns?
Yep.
For real? Mm-hmm. Tell Pauly I said hi.
I will.
Dude, I idolized him. I idolized him when I was a kid, dude.
Yeah.
Legit. Encino Man. Oh my God, I was the weasel. I was like probably 9 years old, and I was the weasel all the time, and my parents hated it.
Hell yeah.
I have seen that movie about 1 million times. So yeah, Pauly's always been somebody I looked up to.
Man, I definitely tell him what's up for you, man.
Appreciate that.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing what you do with it. And
thank you.
I look forward to being part of the next one, man. And shout out to the listeners and the viewers and people who are tapping in. Appreciate you guys, and thank you again for having me, man. I'm wishing you nothing but success and nothing but wisdom.
Thank you. Same to you, brother.
Thank you.